Is booty bad in any way?
No.
Hey, it's Kai here with
XtraOrdinary
athletes here helping you fit fitness even to the busiest of lives.
And right off the bat, please hit that like button, that subscribe button, that bell notification button, and check out some of our other playlists. And if you're interested in hearing awesome people discussing fitness topics, very controversial in nature, please check out the Fitness Under Fire channel.
Okay, but for today, we're actually going to continue a playlist that we just recently started entitled How Other Videos Are Lying to You. And the first installment of this series was about how to actually shred belly fat. So if you missed that video, we'll link it somewhere around here. Go back and check it out. But today's topic is going to be how to grow that ass.
Now, this is a topic similar to shredding that belly fat that has a lot of misinformation on YouTube. And it's usually targeting women who want a more voluptuous booty.
So we're going to do a few things here. First, we're going to explain how other videos are lying to you and dispel some myths about booty growth. Second, we're going to cover the actual principles of muscle hypertrophy and how to apply them. And third, we're going to look at how to accomplish that most coveted prize in our society, how to develop a nice booty without overdeveloping your legs.
All right, nothing fires me up more than lies about booty growth. Let's get into it.
There are a lot of videos out there for how to grow a bigger booty, and unfortunately, a lot of them offer fluff to hopeful women and to some men whose dreams of a bigger butt are usually dashed when the results don't come in.
Where in tarnations is my Derriere?
What do we mean by fluff? We're talking about exercise programs that seem to target that area that you want, but are not actually designed for you to make any progress or hypertrophic gains. And this problem started decades ago with those workout along videos in the 80s.
2, 3, 4, and extend, and squeeze, and squeeze. Good.
I'm not convinced that any of that was helpful, but nice gratuitous ass shot. And unfortunately, gratuitous booty shots, along with false information made by those with genetically gifted derrieres, are still made even today. Often we see women with really good looking backsides promoting their program, promising that you can look exactly like them. But their routines are filled with fluff and pump exercises with little to no intensity, difficulty, or overload. This video, for instance, is called 5-minute booty workout at home. No equipment, wider hips. And most of it is dedicated to this. Now, apart from the one set of squats that is done near the end of the video, there's really not much value here. And for some reason, the 5-minute booty routine ends with this. Weird. I mean, maybe they just ran out of more fluff exercises for the booty. And there are tons of videos like this out there with millions of views. And some of them are just ridiculous.
Lift your leg and then together. 1, 2, together.
Oh! Can't even begin with this. All right, let's just move on from whatever we witnessed there, and let's forget about the fact that this video has over 2 million views. The point here is that regardless of the content, it seems that in order to get the views and followers, all it really takes is to show some semi-nude gratuitous booty shots. Hey, why don't we start doing that instead of, like, you know, creating good content?
Okay, we should note it's not all bad news out there. While there are a lot of videos promoting booty fluff exercises while ignoring the fundamental principles of muscle growth, things have actually begun to change. In recent years, more female-focused videos have come out about how to grow a bigger butt that actually provide good informative content. But unfortunately for a lot of inexperienced lifters and for beginners, it may be difficult to be able to go out there on YouTube and discern what is legit from what isn't, and there's still a lot of fluff out there. So this is where having a better understanding of muscle development can really come into play and help one out here. And as we've acknowledged in other videos, there's 3 main mechanisms to accomplishing muscle hypertrophy. So the first one is mechanical tension, which refers to the amount of tension that you place on the muscle fibers when you introduce a stimulus. And the second one up is muscle damage, which refers to the actual microscopic damage and tears that you do to the muscle that you're exercising. And this often leads to DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. This is most typically achieved through a real focus on the eccentric contractions of a particular lift. And the third one is metabolic stress, which refers to when you're training a muscle in an anaerobic manner, which induces the accumulation of metabolites. This results in cell swelling and can really give you that pump, look, and feel, but it's also gonna burn like hell. Now, if you manage to ignore some of the outright absurd or ridiculous exercises in some of those booty fluff videos, there might be an argument made that a lot of the exercises are muscle activation exercises, and if done with a good intensity and high reps, that kind of constitutes metabolic stress. And this may actually be true in some cases, and certainly metabolic stress has been shown to contribute to muscle growth. But even then, this really shouldn't be the only tool in your muscle building arsenal. And this is actually why a lot of those videos are failing women, and probably why for so many years, heavy lifting was considered only for men.
Oh, great! Thanks for setting up the bar for me, girls. Fantastic.
But the fact of the matter is that progressively overloading with mechanical tension and eccentric overload to create that muscle damage are gonna be necessary components for anyone who wants to build muscle. This doesn't apply any less to a woman's booty. And unfortunately, many of the people in these fluff booty videos may actually not necessarily know better. So then why is it that they still have such curvaceous booties? Well, the reason might actually be, at least in part, genetics. But for so many of us who don't have such God-given assets, we will need to be applying the total principles of muscle growth to see real progress.
First off, we here are not in favor of disproportionately developing one muscle at the expense of others. We think a healthy approach to one's body, both physically and mentally, is one where you take the approach to develop all muscles proportionately. We believe that this approach will produce the best aesthetic results, is the most sustainable in the long term, and also is the healthiest overall for preventing injuries and muscle imbalances. For the lower body, that will mean employing the principles of muscle hypertrophy in exercises like squats and deadlifts. It will mean lunges and reverse lunges, and it will mean hip thrusts. However, in our society right now, a bigger booty is often considered the most coveted of prizes, and women want to figure out how to develop that without developing the rest of their lower body, such as their quads, hamstrings, and adductors. We will admit, though, that this can often be tough because the glute muscles often want to work in concert with those other muscles. And as we talked about before, a lot of it can be genetic. But a couple of tips can be said here. First of all, remember to train the glute medius. This is often an underdeveloped and overlooked part of the process, so you're going to want to remember to use hip abduction to address that neglected glute medius, as it'll really help you get that shape and lift that you want for your booty. While there are some machines at the gym that can address this, oftentimes they're called the good girl, bad girl machines, there's also home exercises you can do. One of our favorites is actually an exercise we saw on the Athlete X channel that we've started doing a lot recently, and it's a banded hip abduction walk. This one's really great for athleticism and will really address that glute medius. Second, there are also exercises that better isolate the glute itself instead of compound exercises. Brett Contreras, who has a PhD in sports science and is the self-declared glute guy, has really become a leader in this topic. He offers up some exercise suggestions for that oft-asked question of how to hit that booty without hitting the other leg muscles. And so if this is your goal, the second tip here is to add a couple more glute isolation exercises into your routine. The first one that we like is the cable pull-through. And this isn't just an exercise for women who want to develop their booty. No. In fact, Athlete X has recommended it for athletes like football players who need to generate a lot of power and force from a hip hinge movement. And because it trains explosiveness with your hip hinge, it will have carryover benefits for your other lifts as well. Now, of course, thrusting your hips up into the air might be a little embarrassing for people at the gym, especially if you're a little timid, so you might want to take a look around and scan the room before setting up for this one. But honestly, as we discussed in our 10 exercises to stop being embarrassed over video, you should really never be embarrassed to try something out at the gym. Really, no one's there to judge you. It's just your own fears and insecurities that are stopping you. So feel free to try out any exercise and thrust away. But if this just isn't for you, then a typical kettlebell swing is a good substitute. Just consciously focus on glute activation and try not to let the other muscles like your lower back or your legs dominate the exercise. Instead, be sure to generate the force from the hip hinge movement itself. The last exercise that we'll point out that rarely gets any love, but for those who do it, they really swear by it, is the reverse hyper. Now, it may look weird to do this exercise, but it gives you a really great contraction in your glutes, and you can also overload it by using ankle weights. Although it's hard enough that just body weight will likely suffice.
So we hope you found this video helpful.
And we are so sorry to let you know that building that big booty isn't as simple as those other videos let you believe.
Now, if you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you like our playlist about how other videos are lying to you, please let us know in the comments below any topics you want us to cover.
Indeed. And if you missed the first video in this whole playlist, which was about how to shred stubborn belly fat, then we'll link it somewhere here. Click it and give it a watch as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.
Bye!